Welcome back. In this video I would like to talk about the balancing of our sculpture, the final balancing of the sculpture and how you're going to balance one side against the other. In this video here that I created of my sculpture actually spinning, you'll notice that the one side with all the 4 extra pieces is balanced against the side with the big red piece here. Now this was no small feat. When I started cutting these pieces out, not all of them were balanced. I put the fulcrum where I wanted them to on each piece, and then they kind of were balanced well enough, and I thought, okay, well, we'll go forward with that. But once I got to the final balancing of the whole bar, this bottom piece here bumped into the base of the sculpture. So what I needed to do was create a little bit more weight for this bottom piece. So I thought to myself, well, I'll just add a couple extra pieces of cardboard to this bottom piece. It'll change the weight against that littler one. So I cut out 3 pieces. You can see them here in the video. I cut out 3 pieces and glued them together, and that shifted the weight so that this piece pulled down, and likewise it pulled all of these pieces down and made this last one here stand up even more, which I actually liked. So that was one great solution. But then my fulcrum was way too far over. It was, like right here, and the sculpture wouldn't spin at all. So I had to figure out how I'm going to move this fulcrum over. So I added 5 pieces of cardboard, but it yet wasn't heavy enough. So I took a bunch of little pieces of metal like this, pieces left over from my sculpture bar, and inserted them into the corrugation pieces of this big piece here. If I tip them over, and you can see those pieces all fall out. So I took some hot glue, smeared it inside of the little holes, and then took a bunch of little metal pieces and inserted them into the little pieces of corrugated cardboard inside of my sculpture. And what that allowed me to do is fine-tune my sculpture so that I could put the fulcrum exactly where I wanted it. Now, as I started this, I thought, oh great, I'll just fill all the holes up. No problem. But then what happened is, after filling all the holes up, the fulcrum was actually too close to this large red piece. It was, once I moved my hand, it was like right up here where the paint almost ends, and the sculpture again wouldn't spin at all because that large piece was now bumping in to the metal rod right in the center. So I had to remove a few pieces and then fine-tuned it so that I could get the brad situated exactly where I wanted the fulcrum to be. Then I took a little dab of hot glue and glued the fulcrum into place so that I could have it properly balanced. Okay? So having that properly balanced means that you want to be able to have all of the pieces of your sculpture lined up how you want them, and that final fulcrum is going to be situated so that your whole sculpture will spin around. And it should spin around freely, evenly, as if the wind blows it effortlessly around the sculpture. Okay, and that is how we finish our sculpture fulcrum, and making sure that all of the pieces are balanced evenly in the sense of proper balance, the way that you want your final sculpture to look.